Automotive engineering has always pursued the impossible. Faster, more efficient, more technological. But sometimes, engineers simply don't know when to stop. You're about to discover the cars that cross that line. Machines so complex they became their own enemies. Get ready because what comes next defies logic. What if I told you there's a car with 64 computers controlling every single movement? Another that needs 3 different keys just to start? And one with so many systems that even the engineers themselves can't fix it anymore? These are the 7 cars that took engineering too far. We start with a legend. The McLaren F1, central driver position, naturally aspirated V12 engine, 240 miles per hour top speed. But what few know is the absurd level of obsession in its engineering. Designer Gordon Murray was so perfectionist that each screw was individually weighed. The toolkit, made of titanium. The luggage, custom molded in carbon fiber. Even the acoustic lining was plated in gold. Yes, real gold. Why? Because it reflects engine heat better. Additional cost, over $50,000, just for the gold. The result? Each F1 took over 3 months to be hand-assembled. Only 106 units were produced. And if something breaks today, good luck finding parts. But this is just the warm-up. S-Class, the most advanced car in the world in the year 2000. Mercedes put too much technology in a single vehicle and paid the price. Rain sensors, adaptive air suspension, night vision system, stability control with 15 sensors, seats with 12 electric adjustments and memory, air conditioning with 4 independent zones. Sounds incredible, right? Until everything started to fail, and everything failed. The air suspension collapsed without warning. The electrical system had so many modules that mechanics needed specific software just to diagnose problems. A simple blown fuse could disable 10 different functions. Owners reported maintenance bills of $15,000. Some simply abandoned the cars. They became luxury scrap. But there's a car that went even further in complexity. 1,200 horsepower, 253 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. The Bugatti Veyron isn't just a car, it's an aerospace project on wheels. W16 engine, that's right, 16 cylinders, 4 turbochargers, 10 radiators, yes, 10. Because the Veyron generates so much heat it could literally melt itself. But the madness doesn't stop. At top speed, the Veyron consumes 1 tank of gas in 12 minutes. The tires last 15 minutes at 250 miles per hour and cost $42,000 per set. And you know the best part? Volkswagen, which owns Bugatti, lost $6 million on every Veyron sold. Why? Because it was impossible to manufacture it profitably. Each unit was an exercise in corporate ego, engineering for engineering's sake, and the next car took this to another level. Audi never did things halfway. When they decided to compete with Mercedes and BMW in the luxury segment, they went radical. A W12 engine, basically 2 V6 engines glued together. 450 horsepower, air suspension on each wheel controlled independently. And here comes the madness. Body in total aluminum. Revolutionary? Yes. Practical? Not at all. A small dent in the fender? Specialized shop, imported parts, 3 weeks waiting. Cost, starting at $15,000. And the electronic system? 64 control units. 64 computers just to make the car work. If one fails, you need a $50,000 scanner to figure out which one. Result, $200,000 cars that, after 10 years of use, were worth less than a budget sedan. But there's a car that surpassed even this in complexity. The 1970s, Citroen decided to create the most technologically advanced car on the planet, and they succeeded. The problem? It was too advanced for its time. The Citroen SM had self-leveling hydraulic suspension, power steering with only 2 turns lock-to-lock, headlights that turned with the steering, and brakes, also hydraulic. all controlled by one central high-pressure hydraulic system. If one hose failed, you lost everything. Suspension, brakes, steering, everything. And failing was common because in the 1970s, the technology simply didn't exist to make this work reliably. Mechanics refused to work on it. Parts were rare even when the car was new. Owners had to become amateur hydraulic engineers just to keep the car running. The SM was a commercial failure, but its legacy? It proved that sometimes technology needs to wait for the world to catch up. 1986. Porsche reveals a car that seemed to come from the year 2050. Variable all-wheel drive, electronically adjustable suspension, run-flat tires, sequential turbochargers, and body in Kevlar. The traction system could vary power distribution between front and rear wheels in real time. In the 80s, this was science fiction. But here's the problem. It was so advanced that it was banned in the United States for 13 years. That's right, banned. Why? It didn't pass safety regulations because the test didn't exist for that level of technology. Bill Gates bought one and had to keep it stored without being able to legally drive it. Only in 1999 did a special law allow importation. The development cost? $60 million. Only 337 units produced. Porsche lost money on each one. Why? Because it was impossible to mass-produce something so complex. But there's a car that went beyond any logic. Number 1. The car that redefined the meaning of over-engineered. The BMW 750iL E38. And no, it's not the fastest or most expensive car on this list. It's the most insanely complex. Let's start. First, integrated GPS navigation system, adaptive cruise control, ultrasonic parking sensors, double laminated windows, radio with 16 speakers, and here comes the madness. First generation iDrive system, one button to control over 700 functions, climate control, sound, navigation, suspension, seat memory, even the temperature of the cup holders. But the real insanity was underneath. The 5.4-liter V12 had individual electronic management of each cylinder, 12 coils, 12 individually controlled injectors, 24 valves with variable control. And when something broke, you needed a certified technician with $80,000 worth of equipment. And even then, they often couldn't diagnose the problem. Today, a 750 ILE 38 in good condition is worth less than a used motorcycle. Why? Because nobody wants to deal with the complexity. It's cheaper to buy another car than to fix a single system. Now you must be thinking, but that was in the past. Today's cars are simpler, right? Wrong, very wrong. Today's electric cars have even more computers, more systems, more complexity. A Tesla Model S has over 100 electronic control units. And when the battery fails outside warranty, $20,000 just for the battery. The question isn't if these cars will become maintenance nightmares. The question is when. And how many owners will discover this the hard way? These 7 cars prove one thing. More technology doesn't mean better. Sometimes engineers simply can't stop. They create machines so complex they become impossible to maintain, repair, or even understand. And the future? It's only going to get worse. Autonomous cars, solid-state batteries, electric motors with 4 independent units. The industry hasn't learned anything. But here's the thing. If you found this video, you're already ahead of 99% of car buyers out there. You're the type of person who wants to know the truth before making a mistake. So do this right now. Hit that like button so YouTube knows you want more content like this. Subscribe and turn on all notifications, and then drop a comment telling me, which car on this list shocked you the most? I read every single one, and if you know someone who's about to buy a car loaded with tech, send them this video. You might just save them from a financial disaster. This is just the beginning. Stay sharp, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.